Hi, my name's Flynn Murphy, and this is my 2020 Med Skills video reflection. So one of the first things that we did in this class is we started to read a book called In Shock, and it was like the first thing in the curriculum, and it was really cool because thinking about a science book, I feel like it'd be so fact-based, and from other experiences with classes, it's like article-based, it's all facts. You don't really retain what you're learning because you get distracted. But this book was really had a storyline. So Dr. Renna, she was a doctor, and then she also became a patient later on because she has had so many complications throughout the book. That's like amazing. She's still alive. And I think that's something that she wanted people to take away, was that she's been through so many things and she defied them all, survived them all. So that was really cool. And then another thing I think she really wanted people to take away was you should be aware of what you're saying. Not only in the hospital environment, but just in general, don't be oblivious, because when she was in the hospital, she experienced a lot of things that were not ideal. She had people tell her, like one time, like she was circling the drain, just things like, and patient care is really important, and she kind of touched on that a lot in the book, that is really important to be aware because you have somebody else's life in your hands in the end. We had a lot of discussions about this book, which was really cool because people spoke from experiences, which opened up more doors and allowed other people to feel more comfortable talking about their experiences. So the book not only allowed us to feel what she was feeling as an author, but also allowed us to like know our class better, and it led great discussions. So throughout the year, we did a lot of HOSA-based projects, or at least a few. So a few of these were like the biomedical debate. At the end of the year, we had a project where you innovated your own medical tool, and then we also had a spelling bee for medical terms. So the first project we did was the biomedical debate, and that really helped me actually become interested in HOSA because I've always heard about it, like people that I knew that were in the club, but the biomedical debate kind of pushed me to do it, especially because two of the teachers that were running my class were also people who took part in HOSA. So I always heard about it a lot, and the HOSA-based projects kind of allowed me to do that. And even though I didn't choose biomedical debate for my event, the roommates that I roomed with at States did have this as their event, so it was kind of cool because when I discussed like their arguments and stuff, I could kind of help, and I kind of knew about it because we did experiences in my class. Also, the spelling bee was kind of cool to do in class because it was fun to test your knowledge of what you know, and it was also fun to watch other people try to attempt it too. One thing I really liked about the class was there was so many different things that I feel like if any other class I would not really have the same experience from. For example, we saw an autopsy, and that was really cool because it's an autopsy. No one really has like the opportunity to do that. We had a lot of guest speakers come in, which was really cool because it showed so much variety, and there was always something new coming in, which was really nice. The class was never boring. You can also tell that the teachers are very passionate. Miss Anani, Miss Danton, they always had great lesson plans. They always knew what they wanted to do. They were just really passionate about what they did. We worked in groups a lot, which was nice because it allowed me to like kind of know my classmates and become closer with them. Even though I was already friends with a few, I got to know more people that sat at my table. And I also really liked that the class didn't give a lot of homework because I wasn't really super stressed out about things. But some things I didn't like about the class were sometimes the guest speakers were really boring. It only happened a few times, it wasn't like a huge thing. And then also when we were discussing In Shock, the book started to get repetitive itself, so some of the discussions started to get repetitive, but I don't really think that was really the teacher's fault. I think it was more of the book and like the curriculum's fault. So above everything, these documentaries that we watched were very eye-opening. Like the Bleeding Edge one, it was just kind of scary because you saw someone who really experienced that, and you can see their life altered forever. It was hard to watch because those people were never going to be the same. It shows that devices really needed to be regulated better, and people should know the side effects of what they're putting in their body, especially if it's a medical implant. We saw a lot of cases of them going wrong because there wasn't precautions taken and there wasn't enough research or data on that device. It wasn't tested enough times. It wasn't safe enough to be exposed to the public. And in the documentary we saw, it was exposed to the public, and it was just scary because this could have happened to anyone. It's a scary thing to like see. And for me, example, I didn't know what was going on until I watched the documentary. I'm sure a lot of my classmates felt the same way. and they didn't know what was going on. So like I said, it was extremely eye-opening. So a couple suggestions that I maybe have for next year are, sometimes the In Shock book talks were a little repetitive. I don't mind book talks. I think they're fine. I think they get the job done. I think they're engaging sometimes, but I think something that could be more engaging would be like little activities or like little projects that go along with that, just to switch it up a little bit, give more variation in discussing. Another thing that would be really cool is, instead of the guest speakers coming to us, maybe a couple times, one or two, we take a field trip as a class to go to the guest speaker and their working environment, so then we can see how they use their tools. It's just, I feel like that'd be a really cool experience that we could have. So a few things that I could take away from this class, where there's a lot of opportunities out there that a lot of people don't know about in the medical field, which I got to obviously experience and learn about in this class. Another thing is, I am now Stop the Bleeding certified. So I got to train, and now that's something that I will always have with me, and if I ever am in a situation where I need it, I have it, and I have the knowledge of it. Also, whether it was eating habits, domestic violence signs, or how to put on a tourniquet, I learned a lot of skills in this class that will always be with me forever. I think it is very important that we spend a little more time talking about the different areas of the medical field and like the jobs that they have, because going into this class, I didn't really know a lot about them. I did learn a few more, obviously, but I still feel like there's more to talk about. And then also talking about education requirements and salaries, I think would also be beneficial, because it gives students like a realistic goal or an idea of what they need to do in order to reach their goal. So those are just steps I think are pretty useful to know along the way, and what comes with your profession, just to make sure you do like that profession and that profession is the right one for you. If I could describe this class in one word, I would choose unpredictable, because we did so many things in that class, from making presentations to watching an autopsy video, having spelling bees to having debates, and it was just something new every day. And that's what made the class really fun and exciting, and I looked forward to having that class, because you never knew what you were going to do walking in those doors. But there was just so many opportunities, and it was a really unique class, and I really enjoyed it. So Miss Stanton, Miss Nadi, thank you for a great year. I hope to see you guys soon.